Hey everyone, welcome to Revive Mississippi. We're about to go live on 90.1. We got Jason Clark over here, revving to go. Revving to go. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. The calling number 601-948-5950. And the man about to bring us up in just a second. Yeah, Jason Clark. Yeah, time to blast off another good week down.
Time's going by fast, man.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Like literally.
We got a spirited show today, y'all. So y'all sit back, relax, and enjoy. We're gonna talk about a very sensitive topic. Very sensitive. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to Revive Mississippi. I'm your host, DeKeither Stamps. We got our co-host here, Mr. Jason Clark. What's going on, JC?
Man, glad to be in the place, man. I'm looking forward to the show today, man, to be honest with you. I will say that, last time we was here, the weather wasn't so good, but it seems like it's doing pretty good right now.
Feel good today.
Yes, indeed.
When I say I feel good, I feel good today, man.
Well, hey, man, that's a good feeling, man. It is springtime now.
Hey, the session wound up last Wednesday was the actual final day on paper. And I had my couple of days of rest. I done picked up more garbage than I can shake a stick at. And now I'm back ready to go.
Well, man, the work don't stop.
It don't stop. Ladies and gentlemen, as we begin every show, we always want to remember those folks who are going through bereavement. Bereavement is a very trying situation. So, take a moment to be a friend so you can have a friend during your time of need. Because you never know when you need a friend.
That's true.
In order to have a friend, you got to be a friend sometimes.
That's right.
Long after they get done with the repast, the eating chicken and all that, be a friend of days and months and years after, because it doesn't matter how long it is. When you lose a loved one, it takes a lifetime to process. And the best way for that to honor your loved one is to live your life. Live your life and live it in such a way that it brings honor and allows them to still live through you.
There you go.
As you proceed forward. So take that little nugget with you, ladies and gentlemen. We got a great show lined up for you today. Jason, you can go over our sponsors.
I'm going to respond before I hit that. I want to make sure I give a shout out to that good family up there in Rulesville, Mississippi, hometown of Miss Pamela Hamer. Her daughter, Miss Cookie, had her transition this past weekend, and what you just said that right there. Want to make sure we be with that family, man. Continue to keep prayers and everything with that family. So,
she was a very, very, when I say sweet person, and her demeanor and how she carried herself, the dignity of a mother on to the next generation. So many times in life, the second generation somehow fumbles the ball.
Or get distracted.
Or sidetracked. But there was a transition of her mother's fire and energy.
Yeah.
And she transitioned that same energy to her own special way.
She did.
Not to just do the same thing, but move it forward in your own way with your own unique life, but with those same principles. Beautiful soul. The earth is at a loss, but it's heaven's gain.
That's true.
So we want to send a special prayer out to our whole family and everyone impacted up in the Louisville area. Jason, we had to divide duties up. Jason wound up going actually to the service. So I appreciate you for representing Revive Mississippi at that homegoing service, Jason, and everything else you do.
Well, hey, it's always team effort. It's enough. The good book speaks about it, though. There's a lot out there to plow.
That's right.
There's a lot now. So it's never go around, man. Let's just get forward and keep on pushing it forward now. So like I say, it's an honor to be with there, especially her son. She has two sons. One is that's up north, but she has one here in Mississippi, whatnot, though. And so I just want to make sure people continue to be with their family and those and other families that have lost loved ones throughout this year. But taking care of home business, whatnot, though. All listen calls, they already know, man. They call this gentleman all the time and every time. That's if I can say it like that.
That's right.
I mean, you're a transportation service, man. You cannot just just saying nothing about this man.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, not just in the times of need. He just checks on you, see if you need anything. You know,
I know.
I'm just being real with it. And then just like I like dedication like that. I like loyalty. I like integrity. I like service and the service for itself, his customer service. And so anybody out there, especially we got all these events coming up this weekend, and you know we're coming up. The summer's coming up here pretty soon. So if you don't have enough transportation, please call Michael Jordan Transportation Services. We're out there. No job is too small for them. By the way, here, you know, I don't know if you ate today's Stamps, but you know, right around the corner from here, it's Dalton Street. And you know, you can go around into StampsBurger.
That's right.
You know, so hey, you're looking for a good meal, guys, all the time, man. Family business been around for a long every time. We'll continue to be around here. A good burger, good meal, some good old fries. You know, I can't say enough about it, but please, my transitional people, they do have you some vegetarian burgers and some sweet potato fries too. I got to mention that. Can't go out with that. And once again, you guys already know it's springtime. I know my seasonal people, they already know how to till the soil up. But some of us haven't been passed down to second generation, third generation. And so if you want to learn how to become a farmer or get back to earth, look up on our social media, BaoBab Farming and BaoBab Cooperative. You know, it's no job too small for them to actually help you out, show you how to, you know, I say about a pair of Jordans, they started in the agriculture business.
That's right.
All right, let's go ahead.
When God made man, he made a what?
Hey, he made farmer.
He
made a farmer. And the thing about it is, even with the cost, I know we have some egg issues going on and meat, but it's really some R&R you get out there when you with nature.
That's right.
You know, that's the whole another thing. I got plenty of vitamin D here. Plan on getting some more vitamin D this summer.
It's all good. And I also want to, you know, this life allows us some unique opportunities. And today marks the 100th anniversary of Integer, Mississippi.
Yes, it is. Yes, it does.
Used to be Mississippi Parent Life.
Mm-hmm.
Started out there in Vicksburg, and they acquired Jackson Market and several others. So it is definitely a when they cut the birthday cake today, heard the Integer story, unique story. We're gonna dig that to a little bit later. I see my good friend Jeffrey Harness tuned in, Representative Harness from out there in Fayette, Mississippi.
Come on, my kinfolk playing out there, Fayette, Port.
And Representative Harness got to get on the show.
Yeah,
again.
Yeah,
when I'm here.
Yeah, well, when I did have him, I'm telling you, I ain't gonna lie to you, he did bring the fire now.
Oh yeah, I got a couple phone calls when Jeff came on the show. But Jeff, hey, you got to give me a call as soon as you want to get on the show, talk about your campaign, because you're doing a great job in the House of Representatives, and I look forward to having you. Let me catch this call. Hello, caller. Welcome to the show. What's your question or comment?
This one, dude. I've been listening to y'all for a long time, but you know, to me, it's like a disgrace. We have like Pine Woods up down there, 6,000 acres, and we're buying this garbage out the grocery stores. These people taint the meat, GMO, the vegetables. We just not there yet, brother. We just not there yet. We talk about farming. I'm going to do my best to put 48 acres into produce, and I want to glean the community. And we got another brother up there got 200 acres. If he's listening, we want those sweet potatoes and greens. But the point about it is, we got to stop running to these grocery stores, because the garbage in that grocery store, we just not getting it out. And it's a shame. We should have sheep, goats, cows up there. Someone convinced them to sell all the cows and put some horses up there. And then that Pinewood been kind of bankrupt ever since. We as black men, I mean, man, what's going on? Was it from jelly in our back or something? I was not raised like that. If we can't come together as men, we got all these different fraternities, and it's somebody opposing us and working against us. We too nefarious as a people to rise up. We've always been that way, even coming out of Egypt. Right. That's why, you know what I'm saying, brothers, y'all better listen to me very careful. Because things about to change for you all, and you all so-called black people, listen to me very careful. And they've been listening to me. I'm a prophet, bro.
I know you are, Master D.
We better get our act together, Mr. Stamp, And we better come together as men, because if we don't survive this wave that's about to come upon us, it's gonna be about food. You know, these women don't even know how to can no more.
All right.
I appreciate you. Hey, Master D, let me get to our topic. We got a guest wait on us, man, but I appreciate you coming.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know, today he makes a very good point.
I do.
I'm a firm believer in self-determination.
You said food, energy,
and the next wars are being fought for.
That's true.
Food and energy.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So he makes a great point, telling the truth like he always does.
Yeah.
But we got a show already mapped out. We got a guest waiting on us. Today's show, the first block of the show, we're going to bring up Miss Stephanie Bundle. Are you there, Miss Bundle? Let me see if I'm right. Miss Bundle, are you there?
Yes. How are you?
How you doing today, ma'am? How you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you all doing?
We are doing just fine. I want to say thank you for coming on the show. Today's show is we're going to dedicate the first block of this show to a very sensitive topic. And that's why I want to kind of move through our initial introduction piece rather quickly, because April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month.
Mm-hmm.
And we have Miss Stephanie Bundle, Dr. Stephanie Bundle, all the way from Louisiana on the line. How you doing today, ma'am?
I'm doing great.
Well, we appreciate you for taking time out your schedule to spend a little time with us to talk about this very sensitive topic. I know a lot of times people shy away from these types of topics, but we've been known to not do that over our years. And sexual assault is a very sensitive topic. So I want everybody who's listening to not call in for a few minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And Dr. Bundle is going to give a little history about just the awareness month, and then she's going to also tell her story when it comes to sexual assault. How you doing today, ma'am?
How are you? I'm doing very well. This month, indeed, is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. It is a very serious issue. This issue does not discriminate. It is not limited to marginalized populations. One out of every three women have been sexually approached inappropriately or touched or sexually assaulted. 1 in 6 men have been sexually assaulted. And we are having a growing need to talk about what consent is and what it takes for a person to have the courage to report being victimized by a sexual predator.
Mm-hmm. So talk a little bit about, because this conversation normally happens with women, but I want to ask all men to start having this conversation in your homes, in your churches, and in some cases it's happening in churches.
Yeah.
You know, it's happening inside some very sensitive places where we may, be led by men who may be predators.
Mm-hmm.
There are some leaders who have been accused of very nefarious activity. So, man, what would you first off, tell a little bit about your background and your story.
All right. Well, I'm a social worker. I've been in social work for over 30 years. I was a single parent raising children. I did a lot of speaking. I did a lot of case management and social work in substance abuse in churches, in the community. And when I was younger, I did not have as much information as I thought I had. And I said, there's one thing about being a human being. And if we would remember this, there are things we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? There are things we don't even know we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Because people do speak about a lot of things, but there were some things that I did not know about consent. There were some things I did not know about resources and fear. Fear, I did not know how to work around fear, guilt, coercion, embarrassment. And so that made me vulnerable to being a victim of assault myself when I was younger by prominent people. And we didn't know, unfortunately, we don't know what a sexual assault is. Sexual assault is any sexual activity that you don't have complete consent to engage in. That is an affirmative yes. And what's most appropriate is having a conversation, a clear conversation before the activity even begins. That's healthy sexual behavior. But so many of us don't know, and we're guilted into situations that we're not ready for, that are unwarranted, and that are unwanted because we don't understand what our rights are as a human being. I may be attracted to someone who wants to move further than I'm able or ready to go. And I'm afraid of saying, no, I'm not ready. No, this is not the time. And then assault occurs in those circumstances. We don't know that there's assault. And many times people do not understand that if they don't say yes, it's a no. It's just a no. Because if I can't have a conversation with my partner or the person I want to be intimate with, if I can't have a clear conversation, I have to ask myself, am I even ready for the activity? And that's so important. And sometimes power positions get many women in trouble, and in troubled situations. Whether it be a teacher, a mentor, a leader, a preacher. You say sometimes it happens in church. It happens a whole lot in church with leaders and women. More times women are afraid to say no. These are the boundaries. They may fear the consequences. They may fear, retaliation of some sort that will cost them and their children or cost them in their lives or their jobs, and so there are resources available. Even if sexual intercourse has not occurred, assault may have occurred. Harassment may have occurred. Stalking may have occurred. And stalking is not what you see on TV. Stalking is a repetitive pursuing of unwanted advances via phone calls, on the internet. Keep, going to the person's house after this person has kindly said, I'm not ready. I don't want, and so that can lead to some legal matters. But many women are afraid because they don't know that they have legal rights, that some things can be followed up on. Many times it can be followed up legally because there has to be consent. If it's not consent, it just might be assault.
What would you tell to fathers about having this conversation with their daughters? Because I talk to my daughters all the time about everything. But I'm gonna listen to your response, and then I'm gonna kind of chime in after. What would you talk to fathers? Because I think that fathers have to intervene when you don't know what's going on. You got to talk to your children, have a line of communication. What would you say to fathers out there and how they could safeguard their daughters?
I'm so glad you asked that. Fathers are so instrumental in helping a young woman to understand how to be treated by a potential suitor, a potential date. That there is a such thing as setting healthy boundaries. There's a such thing as respect in relationship. There is a such thing as communication, that relationships have nothing to do with coercion, but has everything to do with healthy respect and healthy boundaries. I don't want to go this far. That word, that their voice is respected, that their feelings are heard, that there needs to be a conversation at and I know, quote unquote, you'll hear, well, she talks all the time. You better be glad that the young woman is talking, because if she's not talking, then you don't have permission to be in that space. You don't have that verbal explicit consent to be in that space. Communication is powerful. And if they don't say yes to whatever, then it's a no.
That's right.
And many people don't know that. And fathers set the example. They're watching what's happening in the home, and they're watching how dad treats mom. And then the dad goes and say, I want any young man that you date to treat you the same way I treat your mother, with dignity and respect and communication. But we have to model that before them. We're seeing a lot of things on social media, but the role of the father in the home is so valuable. And I do believe young people still see their parents. They still see them. If you're walking it out, in adolescent years, they'll act all day like they have not heard you. They heard you. They heard me.
They saw everything.
They hear, that's what I'm saying. They hear everything. You just say it. You said, oh, Dad, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to say it anyway. Just say what's appropriate, because they're going to take it out and they're going to remember that. We have to talk about honor. We have to talk about respect. We have to talk about healthy boundaries. We have to talk about how young men are to speak to young women, how women are to speak to young men, because sexual activity takes readiness. That's why we're seeing so many unhealthy things. You have to be ready for that. And there's some biblical things I could say about that, but we're not talking about that now. Aside from all of that, but you have to have a conversation, and you have to know that your partner is ready. Mm-hmm. If you don't know that, you are breaking the law. That is sexual assault. If they're not ready and they have not verbally told you, you are violating a law. You have to get consent to engage in sexual activity, or to touch, or to even talk in a certain way, because assault is not limited to intercourse. It's how you engage, it's how you approach, how you treat that person. Once a person set a boundary, then we're to honor and respect those boundaries, those healthy boundaries.
In a lot of cases you have, what would you say to mothers, especially single mothers who may be dating and bringing a new person around their children? What would you say to people in that situation?
I love that question. Thank you so much. Ladies, this is the truth. As much as you try to hide behavior, you can't. Mm-hmm. You can't. Children see. They even see what's not seen. They know what's happening behind a closed door. We live in a time where everything is out there. Sexual behaviors of all kinds are out there. And it is important that we model healthy sexual behaviors with our children. And that I'm talking about the men you date, who you bring in the house. Would you want your child to bring that person in the house if he is respectable? If the man is not and I'm talking to mothers, if that man is not treating you with the highest honor and respect, you need to think about that, because you can tell your children what not to do all day, but they're going to do what you do. Mm-hmm. They're going to experience what you experience. And you can say all day, this is not, and they'll swear up and down. I've seen it. I've been in social work for over 30 years. I've seen over and over women talk about to their children what not to do, but those children end up mimicking the mom's behavior. You don't want to date nobody like I'm dating. You don't want to go through what I'm going through. This is horrible. They're going to mimic that behavior. Unfortunately, we have to model it. We have to communicate about it. And if you find yourself in a tough situation, in an abusive relationship, in a sexually assaultive and abusive relationship, yes, talk about it to your children, because they know something is wrong. But ideally, healthy behavior has to be modeled, and children follow what they see.
Jason, tell me.
Oh no, I mean she's the social worker, the doctor is laying it down this evening. This is a topic I would say that we don't bring up to light enough. We know all the other things are always being talked about, but we got some things that we know been going on for a very long time. She said she got 30 years of experience, and I'm saying that because I'm only 38 years old, and I know I've seen it, personally myself growing up. Whatnot though, but she's right. Children, I remember when I was a child, you kind of fear to even speak out on it or talk about it. You see, I'm just being honest with you. It's like if you talk out about it, you get, I don't know, scarlet letter, red. You get branded. But it's sad that we have that going on. Those type of things should definitely not be going on. I know she mentioned women, but I'm pretty sure also young men are
absolutely
being sexual assault too.
Almost definitely.
I hate to say it like that, but
and that's the truth. That is the truth. You are absolutely right. And I remember in the situation I found myself in, I was scared out of my mind to say no. I was scared. I knew better. I was a young social worker, but I found myself scared to silence. I was so afraid to push this away, and I did not know what to do. And I knew what to do, but I didn't know how to walk it out because of fear.
Yeah, fear can paralyze you.
Yes.
It can paralyze you in the moment. And, I can just be honest what I tell my daughters. When you're out there and you're dating, I got a 25-year-old and a 17-year-old and a 14-year-old, and they're gorgeous. And I tell them that, hey, y'all out there, make good decisions, but the main thing is don't put yourself in a compromising situation. One thing that I've taught my daughters to use your daddy. When you start a relationship and you tell a young man that, hey, in order to date me, in order to call me, you got to go sit down and talk to my dad. From the initial onset of that interaction, see, some people think that that's old school. No, that sets some clear boundaries from the beginning with this young man. That sets some clear boundaries that there is a man in this young girl's life. Because see, little boys can come meet mama, and mama can get all giddy and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Just like when a little girl meets, when the little girl meets dad, it's different. But when the little girl meets mama, mama can eyeball the little girl, right? Same thing in reverse. Yeah. When a young man has to go meet daddy, and then there's boundaries there. We have too many interactions with young girls pursuing their own dating relationships without male, father, uncle, granddad, somebody intervention to help mold those boundaries. Now, I'm not some people may think it from the outside looking in, that I'm overly aggressive with my daughters. No, I just tell them, use me to help set some boundaries in this thing and some accountability. So that then when you go off and y'all going to the movies and y'all going here and going there and doing these different things, that person knows that there is some balance in this life that you just can't just come in. Some boundaries sit from the beginning.
I would say, Doc, Doc she kind of alluded to communication. You can't do enough of that. Okay, that's why I'm hearing you right. What you're saying right now. Yeah. You got to have some type of safe environment. And I know, like you guys mentioned the adolescent years. Yeah, usually the mom and the daughter don't talk that much, or the daddy, father, son don't talk that much, whatever. But if you really enforce a safe zone, a safe environment, a safe hotline, however you want to call it, that you can come to your parents or guardian, or like for me, when I was in JRTC, he was Sergeant Bennett out there. And I can talk to him about any doggone thing. He won't look at me in a bad way or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So, that's what we really need to reinforce something that may be lacking in a household or lacking in certain institutions like a community or whatnot. So if you see a need, reach out to that parent, say, I'm just saying, everybody's seeing this stuff. People don't get sexual assault or anything like that overnight, just out of the blue. Somebody saw something, somebody see that child act different.
Right.
Somebody saw that child act different. Nobody woke up and said anything at all. So I'm just saying that we kind of got to, get more, a solution oriented in this process and hear about this right now. It's like you have made me sit back like, man, we talk about everything else, but This is something we should maybe easily not be really dealing with at all.
Right. And so for those of you who are listening in the radio land, the Mississippi Child Abuse Hotline, the phone number is 1-800-222-8000. That's the National Mississippi Child Abuse Hotline. It's 1-800-222-8000.
You also got Hinds County. If you're in the county area, you got 601-974-2933, and that's 601-974-2933.
You know, there's several numbers out there, but the main thing is tell somebody, inform somebody, so that appropriate action can be taken place, because we can't have people out here being predators. Because when you don't say nothing, the predator wins, and he preys on somebody else.
And I would also like to mention, sometimes in some environments that those behaviors are so normalized that predators are not even conscious of the vile nature of the assault at all, because they've been getting away with it, or they have a certain amount of clout in the community, or they have popularity, or, you know, and sometimes they get pat on the back, but, you know, they're leaving in their wake a line of victims, you know, and we have to say it out loud. If you did not get consent, then it may have been assault, you know, and it's important to have support to hear the voices of the victims, you know, and we need to show up for them in our communities. And I heard the young man with you, Mr. Stamps, speak on mentorship. That's what I kept hearing, mentorship for young men, knowing how to treat young women, because social media, they'll tell you a certain way to treat them, you know, and you start seeing that over and over and over. And then that thing gets normalized, that disrespect gets normalized, and we don't, you know, and then when we try to engage, or as men, you try to engage in a relationship with a young woman, you don't have the skill set or the tools necessary to honor that woman. You don't, and I'm learning that words like respect, honor, honesty, gentleness, meeting someone, really just being respectful. Those words are not popular words in our cultures, and we got to repopularize these words in our culture again, because that saves us, and it helps us, and it prevents victimization, you know. And then we have to override the fear and have the courage to speak up, because if he did that to you, he's doing it to someone else, because that's his pattern of behavior. Silence is going to hurt somebody and may kill somebody one day. So we have to speak up. We have to have the courage to say, it is not appropriate. If it's a no, walk away. If it's not a yes, it's a no, walk away, you know, and set those boundaries.
Well, we're going to open the phone lines up, ladies and gentlemen. The call-in number is 601-948-5950. That's 601-948-5950. If you have anything you would like to share of your heart in this moment, you can give us a call at 601-948-5950. And on our show, we've never shied away from sensitive topics, uncomfortable topics. And I do want to preface this by saying, I know this is a sensitive topic for a lot of people. Yeah. And if something is said or done that triggers you in a negative way, we apologize if we maybe not have said something the right way, but we're trying to raise awareness to help somebody for a conversation that needs to be had. And with April being Sexual Assault Awareness Month, we wanted to bring light to the issue, bring voice to the issue, and allow you as citizens to give us a call. Because, you know, a lot of times in our community, we said, don't tell nobody what goes on in this house. Well, that's true to a degree.
Yeah.
But if there's something going on in this house that need to be told, you need to be told.
Yeah.
You know, I know we hear that a lot. You know, when people, parents say, don't tell nobody what goes in this house. I got it. But sometimes some stuff need to be told.
And sometimes you are as sick as your secrets.
Oh, say it again, sister. Woo. She said you was as sick as we got a caller. Hello, caller. Welcome to the show. What's your question or comment?
Yes, I have a comment. Good evening.
Good evening.
I was just kind of tuned in to what you guys are saying, and you're absolutely correct. But one thing I want to say, we got to work with these young men and women. But the first thing, we're going to have to change the tune of music that's being displayed to our young generation ears. The music, the rap that they're listening to is very disrespectful towards women. And then there are some women that rap that is very disrespectful towards women. So therefore, when they're listening to Cardi B and all these other kind of rap artists, that's calling them out of their name and saying what's good to do in the bedroom, outside the bedroom. I took your man, he took your woman. And then they got some songs that saying, woman with woman. So, you're going to have to start with what the earrings has been engaged to. That's going to be the first step. With music, if we don't clear the music out the market and I don't have a clue how we're going to do it, it's going to be kind of hard because the music that they're listening to is sexual music.
That's right.
But it's all kinds of music. It carries spirits. So we're going to have to start with rearranging the ear gauge.
I agree with you, ma'am. And I really appreciate you for calling in. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
I was making comments, Stamps. I want to say this. I do know there are a lot of families out there and people that are doing constructive things, logical things, whatnot, though. But a lot of them are like in their own little their own little spaces, small spaces. I know things can be very challenging, and I'm still talking about this right here, but it got to be a way that we can magnify things to restore honor and obligation in our community. It got to be a way that we can do this where things like this. I'm being honest with you, Sam. This is like if a predator does it, if a predator does it, you may find it strange, but sometimes it was done to their predator.
That's right.
Oh, and that's, that's more common than not, because we have a pattern of like when you were speaking about what's done in the home stays in the home. You'd be amazed at what's being done in there. And those secrets go to the grave with people. And we're going to have to start telling the truth on the lies. That everything is not okay in the home, that's not appropriate. In order to break the cycle, we got to give it voice. We got to tell the truth on it so that we can break the curse. The music's going to play. It's been playing since Elvis all the way up to Cardi B. It's been that's probably as long as I've been alive, and then before that, but we have to use our voices the same way as the culture uses its voice to entertain. It entertains, it tantalizes the ear, it tries to the whole goal is to get a rise. We're not going to stop that, but we can open our mouth and tell the truth about what it is. We can open our mouth and get into action by first of all telling the truth about what's happening, making resources available, making it not okay to do just anything to people. We can do that. That's the part we can actively engage in. That's the space we have right now, that we can tell the truth, that sexual assault is sexual assault. And I said that sexual assault by a predator is sexual assault by a predator, no matter what position he or she holds in your life. It may be a father in the home. It may be an uncle that's well loved by everybody. And if I tell, nobody's going to believe me. We need to start telling the truth that, yes, those well-loved relatives may have a dysfunction that needs to be addressed immediately. I can't tell on granddaddy or granny, and the whole family will go to pieces if the truth is told. We've got to be brave enough to tell the truth.
We got another caller. Let me catch this caller. Hello, caller. Welcome to the show. What's your question or comment?
I just
wanted to make a statement that you're not going to be able to stop Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion from singing. So we're not going to be able to stop the music, but you can stop your child from listening to it inside your household. I agree on that. Because if your daughter or son got a vehicle, the first thing we're going to turn on inside that car is our radio. I just wanted to make that statement. We can't stop the artists, but we can instill in our kids, and hopefully they listen. But when they get outside the house, you and I both know that they don't do certain things.
You're totally right, man. And thank you so much for calling in, man.
Thank you, man.
Yes, sir.
And ladies and gentlemen, the calling number is 601-948-5950. We got about 7 minutes left to go on the show. I just wanted to just, again, raise awareness to the issue, first and foremost. We talk about a lot of different topics on the radio, but some of these more sensitive topics, a lot of times we don't give light to them and voice to them. And if you have something you just want to share, I mean, I've had people come to me, my text message, I've been over here checking these messages. I mean, I can't say what I've been shown, people told me, but I mean, some folks are just looking for an outlet. Looking for just a safe place and somebody to say, hey, he did this to me. She did this to me. You know, you'd be amazed at how much pain people are holding inside. I remember not that long ago, me and the girls, we were at a restaurant in the little waiting area, and they all piled on top of me. I got one laying on this lap, I got one in my arm over here, I got one over here, and I'm just sitting there with my girls all piled on top of me, waiting in the restaurant area, and my hand was on my youngest daughter's knee. And the lady across from me, she started to visually be unraveled. And she came over to me and she said, sir, could you please take your hand off her knee? That's highly inappropriate. And I'm just like, me at first, I'm like, what is going on? And then my oldest daughter, she's, you know, real perceptive. And she was like, Dad, she must have been hurt as a child by somebody else.
Absolutely.
And that visual
and that
of you.
I definitely want to say that there may be triggers from this conversation, and that it is important. If you have been sexually assaulted, if you have been abused in your childhood, those things have lifelong implications if not addressed and treated. Right. I've worked with older people, older than me, who had to process. There is nothing wrong with getting therapy and help to address assault that has occurred in your life. That's traumatization, that you have been traumatized as a result of that assault. We try to minimize those kinds of things, but they are absolutely traumatizing, and there's nothing wrong with seeking help and healing, or you'll see more people triggered by the stuff they see in the world around them.
Parting words, Jason?
No, I mean, well, I'll say this. I mean, this subject is something we need more share more light to. There is a Mississippi coalition against sexual assault that's out there. You can look them online. The number is 1-888-987-9011, and they basically have a support team out there to help people that actually going through those type of things. So once again, that's Mississippi Coalition Against Sexual Assault. Numbers 888-987-9011. And I mean, I was talking about, we got a lot of stuff coming up here this weekend and things like that, but you know, safety first for this type of stuff like this right here. I don't want to take it with that.
Okay. Any parting words, Dr. Bundle?
I want to thank you for the opportunity. If you all have experienced any of these things that we've talked about today, or you find yourself triggered, do not be afraid to be your best self. Heal from the trauma, get the help you need, and have the courage to say something so that others won't be hurt and you can heal.
Well, you know, I just want to say thank you for helping me touch a sensitive subject. I have family members of mine who have trauma and have dealt with these sensitive type issues just like anybody else. And I wish that people would just step forward and say something. You know, I just got a message a second ago that says that there are leaders right here amongst us that have sexually assaulted people and they still leaders. And people around them have condoned it.
And that's I mean,
you know, so for me, I'm just gonna send all this stuff off to the. I've gotten some disturbing messages right here on my phone, you know, that are alarming. And so, if you know of something, just don't turn a blind eye.
Yeah.
Talk to your children, have a relationship with them. If these children are wound up having, that's why I'm a firm believer in spending time with your children when nothing's wrong. So when something is wrong, they're comfortable saying something.
Automatically.
You know, if you talk to your children about simple, easy, simple stuff all the time, when it's time to have a hard conversation, you can get to that hard conversation. You can get there, but you got to have some relationship with your child. So thanks again, y'all, for this very important conversation. Thank you, Dr. Bundle.
Thank you.
I wanted to also shift. We got 5 minutes to go, and Jason would not let me rest if I don't take a heartbeat of a breath.
Please do.
And say, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your support over the time in the Mississippi House of Representatives. I truly, truly thank you for your attention and your y'all help me be a better man in this whole process of the years that we've been in public service. Y'all have really, it's been 10 years.
Yes, sir.
We got elected in 2013. And it has really been a joy. I had hair then.
Yes, you did. You did. I had locks then.
Yeah, right. Now I got no hair and Jason got less hair. But I've really appreciated serving in the House of Representatives. And now we're pursuing forward. Because the state of Mississippi, just as we talked about 4 years ago, when it comes to utilities, we're not doing it as well as we should be doing. You know, 4 years ago, we ran for Public Service Commissioner for the Central District of Mississippi. And at that time, we received 49.6% of the vote. So we came up a little about a 0.5% short.
Yep.
4 years ago.
Yep. Every vote counts now.
Every vote counts.
Yep.
And elections have consequences. And some of the things at the time, people said that I wasn't thinking it through. It was too harsh. You know, 4 years ago, we campaigned on, well, the state of Mississippi needs to take over the Jackson water system. You know, and you know, of course, certain people get mad when you say stuff like that,
yeah,
because of their own self-interest. But time has proven the truth.
That's true.
That outside intervention was necessary. That's the only reason why a city council person would run for such a high office, is because we identified that office, in conjunction with other offices, need to ring the bell to do something about the water situation, not just here in Jackson, but other places across the state.
Yeah.
But since then, since everybody knows I'm not a quitter, I'm gonna keep fighting for what I believe in. We licked our wounds, and God blessed us with the opportunity to serve in the House of Representatives. And that gave us a deeper insight to statewide issues, but also taught us how to use the utility conversation to spur economic development. And we continue to do that, trying to make our utility grids better and provide a situation where we can create jobs. And now we're asking for your vote again to continue the work you've seen us do in the military, to continue the work you've seen us do on the city council, and to continue the work you've seen us do in the House of Representatives to become your next Central District Public Service Commissioner for Mississippi. And so that's what we're asking for. The election's in November, and we'll be all over the state. We've been all over so far. We'll be in Vicksburg tomorrow, and maybe in Winona tomorrow night. You know, and we got activities going on all over. So we're asking for your prayers, because you know it's deer on the highway.
Sure is.
You
already know how I feel about it.
It's deer on the highway. It's all kinds of highways and by people and accidents all over.
That's true.
We're asking that you first pray for us as we go on this journey. And secondly, we ask for your support and your vote, because it's time for us to continue to move forward, continue to do things in such a way that we make Mississippi better. And we fundamentally believe that you cannot have a better Mississippi unless you have better utilities. You know, the utility group is kind of like the offensive line of football. It's not flashy like the wide receiver. It's not like the quarterback. The utility folks are folks. It's like the offensive line. Nobody notices them until it doesn't work. You know, but everybody in the utility industry, good folks. We've been going all around the state asking for folks for their support, and we're just asking you for your support as well. Help us make Mississippi a better place. We can't do it without your help. So again, my name is DeKeither Stamps, and I threw that message.
All right, then.
We're gonna wind up by saying thanks to our underwriters. We got some wonderful folks that work for us. First and foremost, the Evers family. You know, Charles Evers and now Miss Wanda Evers for their hard work and dedication to even have a vehicle and medium like this, to be able to share and be able to talk about issues with folks and digest. And we appreciate the WMPR and Evers family. We also thank Mr. Michael Jordan, Michael Jordan Transportation Service. You can go to www.mjstransportation1.com for your transportation needs. He's always around helping folks trying to move this city, state, and nation forward. And also over at Stamp SuperBurgers, you can go over to Dollar Street, get you a whole cow between 2 pieces of bread that's tasty to the last drop.
Last drop now.
Or get you a veggie burger like Jason does in those sweet potato fries. But again, all the folks that support us over the years, we thank you, we appreciate you, and we must demand excellence in all we do. Sure. Everybody from the usher to the deacon to the preacher to the constable to the councilman to the supervisor to the representative to the mayor to the governor to the president and senators, all of them, representatives, we must demand excellence. First and foremost, before people talk about what they gonna do, demand excellence in all of their works. If you don't see excellence, you tell them go back and present yourself in an excellent way, because excellence is the bar of performance for every elected official going forward, because they shape our lives. Excellence is the bar of performance for every community leader going forward. That's the low bar. Community is important, and so make sure you demand excellence for everyone in leadership, because that's what we need. When you look at every facet of our community, you see unexcellent behavior, unexcellent leadership. I don't know if unexcellent is a word, but you see things that are not proper. And if it's not proper, make sure people do what's right in these positions that they hold, so that we can get what's right on the other end. You can't get what's right from unacceptable behavior, unacceptable practices, and unacceptable leadership. It will not produce good results.
No solutions at all.
So doing nothing is not an option.
Nope.
Faith without works is dead. So just praying for somebody it'll help. But put the feet behind it. Put some feet to those words. And what was that statement she said? She said, we can be as sick as our secrets. If you are sick of your situation, don't just be quiet. Let somebody know you're uncomfortable with this situation, because it's time for us to move our city, state, and nation forward. And we can't allow the sick people to make us sick. No, you push these sick folks out the way, and you take charge. Step forward in your church, step forward in your neighborhood association, step forward in your community group, step forward. Because it's far too long for us to sit back, because some people may be louder, maybe more brilliant, and all that kind of stuff. Step forward and take leadership. It's time for the regular, ordinary, everyday people to take leadership away from folks who are just talking noise and not doing anything. Make sure you do what's necessary to move our communities forward. I appreciate you. I love you. And as I end every show, I always say, never let anybody put you in a position where you don't love your own people. Because when you hate your own folks, you're part of the very oppression we're trying to lift ourselves out of. I love you, Jackson. I love you, Mississippi. Handyman, get us out of here.
Jackson.